Hey, Steve Vignotti here in Kissimmee, Florida at the 2025 Kissimmee Collector Car Auction. And I'll be walking around the entire venue checking out the vehicles to bring them to you at home. Here's where the battery would go on this normal Mustang, but this is no normal Mustang. This is a 1970 Boss 429 Mustang. If you haven't seen one, it's because there's only two of them here at Mecum at this show. With that said, the surprising thing about this is they're very analog. No computers at all in these things. The Boss 429 had a huge scoop right here. There's a flapper inside, which opens to the carburetor to allow cool outside air to feed the Boss 429 under the hood. And if you're looking for the battery, you won't find it in a normal spot for a normal Mustang because the engine's so wide, Ford had to put the battery in the trunk, which helped weight distribution, but also made room for a battery at all. So let's go inside and just explore how this works. You'll see there's a cable right here. What opens and closes that door for the ram air effects? Well, let's go inside the car and take a close look. Now the thing is, Boss 429s were all 4-speeds, no automatics, and same with the Boss 302, this car's little brother. But inside on the driver's side, there are two knobs that you push or pull to activate one of two different functions. One of them is this one here, which is for the air right here. You push or pull that, which actuates the flap inside of the hood to allow cold air. And beyond that, these have mechanical chokes. Long before EFI or electronic fuel injection, there's a Holley 4-barrel on these things, and the choke had to be opened or closed manually with this other cable right here. So it took a fair amount of, driver engagement to drive and appreciate a Boss 429 Mustang. Muscle cars and performance hood styling go hand in hand, and it was handled in different ways. In 1970, this is an El Camino SS. It's a 396 4-speed car. This has the optional ZL2 cowl induction hood, which absolutely works. It's vacuum actuated at wide open, it pops open, and pretty cool. This is really functional. By contrast, the Chevy Camaro 1968 with the 396 came with these non-functional but highly stylized hood vents. They do nothing except collect ice in the winter time, but they sure as heck look good. By contrast, we come over here to the 1977 Pontiac Trans Am, and these have what I call the faker shaker. What do I mean by that? Well, the shaker is on top of the engine, it wiggles and jiggles, but if you look at the back of this where it should be open, they're molded shut. They do nothing. So you wonder, where does the air come into the engine from? Well, let's open it. One thing great about the shaker is that it gives you the opportunity for Pontiac to put the TA 6.6 logo, the brag stickers, to alert everybody that it's a 400 motor onto the hood, which was standard fare at this point in time. This one here being a 1977. But anyway, the air goes into the engine by way of not the shaker, but rather this zip tube right here, which is fed by a scoop under the bumper or behind the headlight assembly right here. So it's really not a ram air, but these sure sold the heck out of Trans Ams. In fact, 1970, 78, 79 were major years. Trans Am outsold Camaro. Speaking of Camaro, in 1977, Chevrolet recognized the error of their ways when they dropped the Z28 and they brought it back. Now, it kind of came back in a humble way. Didn't have a full 100 like the Trans Am did. They said 350s, nothing wrong with that, but the styling on these things had a flat hood, but if you look on the top of the hood, you see a decal, a graphic here, that predicts the 1978 add-on hood scoop, which was also not functional at this point in time. But it's kind of a weird thing where a decal did the job, holding the place for the next year's actual bolt-on blister. So again, styling of hoods went a long way and goes a long way towards selling high-performance cars. Today in 2025, virtually every car has electronic fuel injection, but back in 1957 and 58, the Pontiac Bonneville was one of the few American cars with fuel injection, but it wasn't electronic, it was mechanical. Let's dig in and take a peek. This is a 347 cubic inch Pontiac V8, a good engine on its own terms, but when you add mechanical Rochester fuel injection, this is what you see. And the Bonneville was standard with fuel injection. We see it right here. And the beauty of fuel injection is that it gives a little better fuel distribution and a little more horsepower, another 10 horsepower over this basic 4-barrel. But the interesting thing is, GM hid the mechanical unit inside of that tin box to prevent tinkerers from messing with it. The same basic system was used on the 57 and 58 and 59 Chevy Corvette, very similar stuff, but a very different casting. So Rochester Fuel Products Division of General Motors was very busy making fuel injection units, but they were not electronic, they were mechanical, and this Bonneville has one. This is a 1958 Chevy Corvette with Rochester fuel injection, and we know that because the fenders have the die-cast metal fuel injection emblems. But what does the fuel injection look like? It's similar to the Pontiac unit. It was designed by GM's Rochester fuel division, but was similar but very different. If we look at it, we'll see that it has a cast aluminum cover, but plenum. And here it is right here, the vaunted Rochester fuel injection, or the Fuelie. This is the pump. This is the metering box right here, and that's mechanical fuel injection, 290 horsepower right here out of the box. And again, similar to the Pontiac fuel injection in the Bonneville, but not the same. This is a 1956 Cadillac Eldorado. If you were doing well in the 1950s with the post-war boom going on, you bought yourself an Eldorado. This was the ultimate statement of, well, professional success. But something very cool about these, they were more than just a showboat. They actually had the heart of a muscle car, because the 365 cubic inch engine in the Eldorado came standard with the dual quads and the 365 engine, two 4-barrel carburetors right there under that beautiful flying wing air cleaner unit right there. And again, the Eldorado, that was the standard engine in the Eldorado right there, the dual quad 365. Now moving forward a couple of years, let's go down here to a later Eldorado, and once again the Eldorado got its own special engine with a different induction system, very much the heart of a muscle car in a luxury car. And here it is once again, Eldorado, the lost city of gold right here. And let's take a peek inside this one. And this one here is a later car, clearly, but let's open that hood and see what we can learn. 3 2-barrel carburetors. GM went from dual quads in 56 to 3 Rochester 2-barrels in 1960, and actually I think 58 and 60, or 59. And here it is right here. Some extra chrome, nothing wrong with that, but this is 3 2-barrel carburetors on that 390 cubic inch Cadillac, and this is the hottest Cadillac engine you could get. It was standard in the Eldorado, available in undercars, even 4-doors. You could get the Eldorado triple carbureted engine if you wanted, but this is the peak of the pile for Cadillac luxury in 1960, and also 1956, the Eldorado, lost city of gold. When you talk about Pontiacs and shaker hoods, everybody thinks you're talking about the Trans Am. Well, in 1974, the Pontiac Ventura 2 GTO could be had with, or came standard with, a shaker hood. And here it is right here in the flesh, or in the metal, as you would like to put it. You can see GTO right here, red, white, and blue. This is the next to last year for the mighty GTO, actually the last year, and it was based on a Chevy Nova. In 75, the GTO went away and became the Le Mans Sport and stuff like that. So anyway, special car, and again, based on a Nova X platform. But anyway, we open the hood and we can see the shaker hood assembly. And again, this is something that was added to the 350 cubic inch engine by the factory. It was born to be there. And here we can see it right here. Now, these had a 350 cubic inch engine, not a 400, not a 455, but this is the only Pontiac in 1974, including the Trans Am Super Duty 455, that had a functional shaker. Now the other ones, like I mentioned, the Super Duties were shut. They were closed, they were sealed, they didn't work. But these ones here have an operational flap in the back which opens and closes at wide open throttle. It has a supplemental cold air intake right here which comes in from behind the radiator wall here. But it's a functional shaker seen on all of the 1974 Pontiac GTOs. And again, these are small cars, not the full-size B platform, but rather the Nova-based X body. So a cool little 4-speed car, this one right here. It had some modifications, but again, the shaker is still there. And yes, it's the final Pontiac with a functional shaker, 1974 GTO. Well, it's funny, these days the Bugatti name is attached to an exotic supercar, the Veyron and etc. Crazy W16 engines on those things, but this is the original Bugatti, and this is a 1927 Bugatti when Bugattis were still blue. Ettore Bugatti, a Frenchman who was behind the Bugatti factory, was behind this build, and basically it's a very exotic little car, but very rudimentary in so many ways. Here's one of the details. Right-hand drive, of course, no power steering, no automatic transmissions, nothing. The brakes are mechanical. You pull this lever right here, and notice how there's a pivot right there. That actuates the drum brakes at all 4 corners. So manual brakes, no ABS, no power brakes. It's all the power in your right arm to stop the car at speed. But a beautiful restored example of when Bugattis were still painted blue. I'm usually known for my American muscle car chops, but this is something really exotic. This is a 1959 Porsche 718 center seater. Now, many people say the Porsche Boxster of the modern era is Porsche's first mid-engine car. Not so fast. These are mid-engine cars, engines right there. It's an opposed 4 versus the rear engine of a Porsche 356 of this period of time, or the front engine. There's no Porsche with a front engine until the 928 of the 1970s. So again, this is the original mid-engine car, but something makes this one very unusual. Of a total of 34 built, there were only 8 built with the center seat structure here. So the driver's right in the middle right there, which is better for road racing because you're in the middle of the car, you have a better sense of direction and braking and dynamics. And this is a very rare bird. Beautiful restoration here at Mecum. And again, not a muscle car, but I love it all the same. The Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird was built in one model year, 1970, and a handful of them came with the 426 Hemi under the hood. Something unusual that most people don't recognize is these were based on Plymouth Belvedere platforms with Dodge Coronet front fenders. The 1970 Dodge Coronet had fender shape that was ideal to merging into the shape of the steel nose that we see right here. The only thing that Chrysler had to do was create these little filler panels right here to adapt the 70 Coronet fender to the Plymouth body. Other things that we see on this one here are the NASCAR spec, or the wing car spec, covers right here, which help the car to be more aerodynamic, and of course the vinyl top standard on all of these cars to hide the surgery scars after these cars are converted at Plymouth, or the Lynch Road assembly plant, from regular Belvederes into Superbirds. So a beautiful car right here. But again, if you didn't know, the Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird uses Dodge Coronet front fenders. Now you do. 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner, which was Motor Trend's Car of the Year, which is saying a lot of Motor Trend's open-mindedness that a muscle car would be their Car of the Year in 1969. But this is a very special one. We see right here, HEMI on the hood, and the inserts for the hood are painted orange and they're functional. This is the N96 air grabber package right here, standard on the Hemi cars, and functional as heck on a lesser 383 car or a non-N96 car. These would be filled in, sort of ersatz, fake, but these ones really work. Let's take a look at that mighty 426 Hemi under the hood. And there it is. The way it works is they allow air to get into this box right here, which is sealed to the top of the air cleaner. So nice, cool, dense outside air for the 426 Hemi. It makes full 425 horsepower. But something really cool about Roadrunners of all ages, from 1968 to 1981, even the Volare Slant 6 could be had with the Roadrunner package. But this is the voice of the Roadrunner. This horn right here is very unique to Chrysler products. It does not have a trumpet on it. It basically floats in plain sight right here. And these mounts on this thing allow it to resonate and go meep, meep. That's the voice of the Roadrunner right there, which gives the Roadrunner its distinctive beep, beep noise sound. And again, this is a 426 Hemi, a real deal numbers matching example. Beautiful stuff. I hope you've enjoyed walking around with me here at the Mecum Kissimmee, Florida 2025 event. I hope you've learned something, as I have.